Hi everyone, how's it going? Today I'm going to be responding to something that comes in a lot and a lot more than you'd think. It's in response to the John Terry workout. The reason I've thrown in there is that, as far as I know, I believe John Terry did it and put it out there, and it's gained a lot of traction because obviously John Terry was a top player and he did this workout. So I just want to clarify some things about it. Make some guesses about why maybe he was doing it, because obviously I haven't spoken to John Terry. If he does want to get in contact with us about what we're saying in this video, that's great. But we'll dive into the nuts and bolts of it and maybe make some suggestions that can lead you to something that's a little bit more football specific. So before I forget, you can get on the MatchFit Football Fitness Academy. If you click below, there's going to be a special offer. But yeah, look at the John Terry workout. For those of you that don't know, what is it? So you set a treadmill to a 12% incline and you run at 18 kilometers per hour for 20 seconds. You then rest for 40 seconds and then you repeat that 15 times. So basically it's a 15-minute treadmill session that John Terry did in one of the pre-seasons or while he was in his off-season. I'm not sure exactly. Again, if John wants to clarify, that's great. But the first thing I would say is that 20 seconds of work at 18 kilometers an hour, followed by 40 seconds rest, is not what the game of football is, okay? So you don't have to play football. That's not the only way you can improve, okay? We're not saying that. But football is high-intensity actions that involves reactive change of directions. It involves accelerations, decelerations. Sometimes it does involve longer distance sprinting, so up to 40, 50, 60 meters. It does happen in some games, and it will happen in practices if your practice is structured well. But what it definitely is not is running 20 seconds at a continuous speed for 18 kilometers an hour. Okay, if anyone knows what 18 kilometers an hour is like, it's fast, but it's not full sprinting, okay? If you were to sprint across 40 meters, then you might be at 21, 22, 23, 24, depending on how much of a good athlete you are and how fast you are, but you're going to be well in the 20s, and it's not likely that you're going to be at around 18 kilometers an hour if you're a male senior player, okay? So, straight off the bat, it doesn't represent the demands of the game. Okay, and in our training, we want to be able to replicate the demands of the game and maybe exceed those demands in training at times. So when we do come across with those problems in a game, we can actually exceed them and we're not going to get injured by carrying out those actions. So we need to make sure that our training is intense to the point of where the game actually is, okay, at the level you're playing at. So to work at 20 seconds for a continuous speed doesn't make too much sense, okay? The 40-second rest period is a fairly long rest period, but I think there's a much better way you can spend 15 minutes. So I think you can have better training specifically, but we'll get into that in a second. What I want to do for a second is to look at why 18 kilometers an hour may have been used, or why 20 seconds is a rest period that's been used. So 18 kilometers an hour is challenging. It's easy on a treadmill. I think this workout might have gained a lot of traction, and why people might like it so much is because it's easy to improve and it's obviously measurable. So if you've got 15 reps and you're dying on the 5th or 6th rep the first time you do it, and the next time you do it you adapt and the 7th, 8th rep you feel a bit better, then it's nice because you think, oh, well, I've improved. But really what you've improved is running on a treadmill at a 12% incline, and that might not necessarily translate over to the game. So I think that's important to mention, that it might be a good workout and it might improve your fitness levels. It might be something that a footballer might want to do if they're on holiday. Say if they've gone on holiday in between before their pre-season starts, then it's probably quite a good session because you might have access to a treadmill. You can probably go out and get on the treadmill and it doesn't take you forever. So if you put some mobility work before and maybe some strength work as well, if you had a small hotel gym, then it could make a really good general off-season session when you can't get access to a pitch and your regular gym. So I think that's why it might have kind of got so much traction. Obviously, John Terry is involved and people look up to John Terry. He had a very successful career, but I think that's important to mention. So what can you do and why do I make the suggestion? So I think when you're training to improve your fitness, the intensity should be higher. Okay, we should be looking to run at high speeds. We should have lots of change of direction, and potentially we can include a ball in that as well. Okay, why should it be high intensity? Because that's what the demands of the game are. Okay, so when we train, we want to cause stress on our body, and that's going to cause our body to adapt, right? So we want things to be high intensity. And if they're not high intensity, generally we want them to be low intensity, because then we can still get some work done, okay, whether it's technical or tactical, or whether it's kind of injury prevention work. But because it's low intensity, it's not going to cause your body a huge amount of stress, and therefore you're going to be able to recover from the high intensity sessions as well. So that means that we want to live on either end of the spectrum as opposed to having medium intensity sessions. And this type of session I would put firmly in the medium intensity range. So it's probably enough to make you tired and cause you some fatigue, but it's probably not enough to improve and force your body to adapt to the level that it's going to need to run at speeds higher than 18 kilometers an hour with changes of direction. So I think there's much better sessions you can do. You can do some position-specific running if you like. You can try and change the patterns of running, whether it's a curved run, whether you want to work on a little bit more distance. If you're a fullback, for example, if you're a right or a left back that's going to be overlapping, you might generally cover more high-speed meters, and you might have more sprints than someone who plays as a central midfielder. So that's something that you might be able to tailor a little bit for yourself. You might be able to include a ball in a way that's going to transfer over to your game as well. So I think you can make it specific to yourself as a player. You can make sure that everything is high intensity. And really, we want most of our conditioning to be done, if we're healthy enough, to be done on the pitch, okay? I think treadmills can be useful tools at times, as can bikes and rowers and assault bikes and things like that, maybe even battle ropes. But generally, we want to do our conditioning in the way we play the game, and we want to try and get other things out of it. So if we can try and get some technical development out of it as well, then you've probably had quite a good session there. So the John Terry workout, it might be a good off-season thing that you can do if you can't get access to more equipment, or you don't have access to pitches and boots and more comprehensive gyms that have everything you might normally have. But I think generally it's not something that's going to help you to meet the demands of the game. So again, John Terry can get in touch with us, clarify all the context that it was done in, but generally we shouldn't just try and cherry pick something that someone did and then try and replicate it and use it. So again, you can get more information around conditioning and pretty much almost everything else related to football in the Match Football Fitness Academy. It's usually $49.99. It'll be on offer below, so just click that link. And if you've got any other questions about this or any other of our videos, you can drop it in the MatchFit Squad or community pages, and we'll try and get back to you. Cheers, everyone.